Hey guys, it's Lisa and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do some cottage style makeovers, and I'm actually doing a little area in my store where I need to add a little vignette. So I'm actually starting from scratch on this one. I do have a few items that I can start with and then kind of work around, but for the most part I'm going to have to make these items. So I got this little bottle from my sister, and I think it's really cute, but the color, I just don't have an area in the store that I need that color, so I'm just going to go ahead and paint it. Once you have a bottle that's painted, it's very easy to paint over it because your paint will stick really well. So 2 coats of the color apricot. That's a Dixie Belle color, and it's mostly pink with just a hint of peach in it. And it's just a really pretty cottage color of pink. So I put 2 coats on the bottle, and then I wouldn't have had to do 2 coats on the center part because I'm painting it in the color drop cloth. But I just went ahead and painted the whole thing. But I have a good indentation here that I can paint up to, so it's very easy to paint it without taping it off. So this is going to get 2 coats of the color drop cloth. I have these beautiful rice papers that I ordered from Decoupage Central, and I will add that link in the description to Decoupage Central. I'm not certain they still have these, but my guess is that they do. They have a lot of beautiful rice papers at, I feel like, good prices. So I'm adding one of these that I've torn out to one side, and then I'm going to turn it around and do the opposite side with another one that kind of coordinates with it. And then once that's dry, I will finish this off with a Dixie Belle satin finish top coat, and then wrap some vintage lace around the top, and then add a hang tag. So I thrifted this little framed scripture, and I love the scripture, and I love the size of it. It's good to add into little vignettes or even tiered trays because of its size. So I'm just going to paint this in that same color of apricot and give it 2 coats of that, and then let it dry. And then I'm going to use some beautiful rice paper that I was gifted, and I actually used the majority of it on the shelf as the back of the shelving. And it's actually going to be used in this vignette, so I wanted to kind of bring that out into places in the vignette, and this is one of those. I am going to add that rice paper with some Mod Podge to the front of this frame. And because when I did this frame, I was down to just bits and pieces of that rice paper, then I ended up having to piece it, but because of the pattern that is on the rice paper, it wasn't a problem. I really loved the look that I got from it. So here it's dry, and I'm adding that rice paper, and as you can see, it's just beautiful paper. And I'm going to try to find that to link. I'm not sure if I'll be able to find it or not, but I actually want it myself. I want to buy this myself. So if you know the name of this paper and you know where to get it, comment that in the comments, because I would just love to order some. And I know that a lot of viewers will love this paper, especially if you see it in person. It's just so pretty. So I wasn't kidding when I said I ended up having to piece this. I thought I had a lot more left than I did, but I had a piece that I felt like I had extra, and turns out I wasn't able to find it, and so I must have used more than I realized. But again, I'm just kind of down to piecing this. And I don't even have enough to match up the pattern, but as you'll see when it's finished, it really, you just don't notice it. So again, I was still really happy with the look of this. So once I got this finished and it dried, you have to let it dry well. To cut that off around the edges, I just used my little finger sander and just sand it against the edges, and then you can just kind of pull the excess away, and I found that to be the easiest way to neaten up your edges. Again, in order to do that, you do have to let this dry very well first. And then I just finished this off with another coat of top coat. Now you can just use the Mod Podges if you want. I think that's what I did here. But I sanded it first, and then I added another top coat to it. And then I just put that same scripture back in, and I did paint the back side of this as well. But I put that same scripture back in, and then I tied some vintage lace around the very top of it and added a hang tag. Now this is the next item that I'm making over. Someone has done some hand painting on this, and it's very pretty, but it's kind of a dated look. So I'm going to paint the whole thing in the same color of apricot. It's a lot easier when you're painting baskets if you can spray them, but then you're very limited on your colors, and I wanted to make sure and use this same color of pink. So I give this 2 coats of the pink on the entire basket. And then I'm going to be adding some more of that rice paper. I actually did this item before I did a little frame, and this I guess is where I used more of it than I realized. But I do 2 coats on this and let it dry well, and then I'm going to take some Mod Podge and glue that same rice paper just on the handle and on the inside of the bottom. And then I'll finish this off with by sanding it with my little hand sander to give it more of an aged look, and then again finish it with a clear satin top coat. And because on all of these pieces I'm using my leftover rice paper, then I end up having to piece the inside of the bottom in a couple of different pieces that I've just added together. And again, I didn't really match up a pattern, but you don't really notice it at all. I think it still turned out to be a really pretty little basket. Now I have this candlestick, and it's the kind that you stick a candle down into, and not many people still use these, so I'm just going to use this to add this cute little bird cage to. My friend Jacqueline sent this to me, and I love it, and she knew I would do something with it. The little bird's cute, but I feel like it'll look better without it. So I'm going to give this 2 cups of the color buttercream, and it's really tough because the only hole is that little hole in the bottom, and so I'm just going to have to get messy with this one and just use my brush to kind of paint inside. The great thing is it doesn't have to be perfect. I feel like when your paint gets a little bit clumpy on these bird cages, it just makes it look more old and look like it's had several coats on it. So to me, that's a really pretty look. And so I'm just going to very carefully paint the inside and outside of it in the color drop cloth. And again, I'm going to give this 2 coats. And then once I get my 2 coats on and it's completely covered and I let it dry well, then I'm going to finish this off with a clear coat as well. And I'll use that same Dixie Belle satin top coat. And then I'm just going to twist some greenery around and wire it together with some floral wire, and very carefully stick it up through that little hole. And it doesn't matter that it's not perfect. Again, I don't do a perfect little wreath. I just kind of bundle some together in a circle because, again, once I stick it through that little hole, it's going to get messed up. And I just have to kind of maneuver it with my fingers to get it where I want it. And then this same friend, Jacqueline, gave me this little bird cage, also gave me some little foam birds. And this will be the last bird that she gave me because I've used all the rest of them. I absolutely love those little foam birds. And it's going to be perfect for this one. And then I'm going to use some clear Gorilla Glue to glue this little bird cage onto the candlestick. But before I did that, I decided I wanted to paint just a little bit of the color drop cloth on this candlestick so that it looks like it actually goes together. So I'm going to kind of trim it out with a couple of coats of the color drop cloth, and then take a little brush and clear coat that area as well. And then I will glue the little bird cage on with some, you could use E6000. I didn't have any E6000, so I'm using clear Gorilla Glue, and that holds really well for me also. So I'm just going to carefully trim this out. There's a couple little areas where I've got a clear line that I can add this color to. And then once I get this trimmed out the way I want it, and I clear coat just the little white areas, then I can glue this together. And then on the very top, where I tore off the little bird, there is a little piece of the wire sticking straight up. So what I did was I took a very large bead that I got actually from an old piece of jewelry that I deconstructed, and that little crystal ball was just the right color, or just the right size to add to the top of this little bird cage, and it was the perfect finish for it. And then I'm just going to add a hang tag to this. And I forgot to mention that I took my little finger sander and did some distressing. I'm sorry you can't see it here, but I'm doing some extra distressing just on the little white areas because I felt like it needed something to make it look a little bit more aged. And then again, I finished those little white areas off with a satin finish top coat. Now here is a beautiful hang tag sent to me by Jacqueline Morris in Indiana, and I've actually had this for a good bit. She had sent me a box of goodies to craft with, and somehow I ended up with this back down in that box and forgot to get it out and show it. So this is just a beautiful hang tag, and she put these little scripture cards on the inside of it. And I just think these are great. And I think she must have made this like we made our gift card holder ornaments. And so it's just a really good idea. And I'm just so grateful to get this. Such a beautiful hang tag. And I love all this lavender trim here. It's just beautiful. And the cross, and obviously I always love the scripture on them, and she even made some little shabby roses on this. So it's just one that she's taken so much time and care with. And Jacqueline sent me lots of beautiful craft items, and again, the bird that was in this one, and that little bird cage, both of those came from Jacqueline. And I've not been mentioning the hang tags long, but anytime you want to send one, feel free to send it, and I will show it on my video and mention your name if you want. I always make that clear if you want your full name mentioned. But it's just a way I can show others what you guys have made. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless you and your family.